This story comes from Tim in California, a state that's so in love with bears that it put a bear on its flag. Welcome to Trinidad, California, a tiny coastal town tucked between ancient forests and a crashing Pacific Ocean. Peaceful, isolated, almost mystical, it's the kind of place where the line between wilderness and human habitation starts to blur. Back in 2023, Tim was living deep inside the Seawood Cape Preserve, a protected patch of wild land where towering trees rule the sky and creatures, big and small, still roam freely. Tim worked on the preserve, and his home base, a well-kept wilderness fifth-wheel trailer parked right in the thick of it. Life was simple, quiet, surrounded by nature, and only a few like-minded co-workers living nearby. Tim had found a rhythm: work the land, watch the stars, live amongst the wildlife. But then came a weekend in early summer, a much-needed break, a trip south to San Francisco with some friends and co-workers to catch a 3-run show of Dead and Company. The first night's show went off without a hitch, but while the band played and the crowd swayed, trouble was already brewing 300 miles north, in the heart of Tim's little clearing. A message came in. "Hey, not sure, but it looks like something's wrong with your roof." Simple, vague, but ominous. By the next morning in daylight, that vague concern became a full-blown disaster. A bear, not a giant grizzly, but a small black bear, nimble, opportunistic, and terrifyingly persistent, had managed to climb onto Tim's trailer roof. Now pause and think about that. This wasn't a bear that was just nosing around a campsite. This was a bear that actually scaled the trailer like a mountaineer. Why? Because the scent of stored food was just too tempting. Right under that very section of roof was a cupboard, packed with trail mix, canned goods, who knows, beef jerky, whatever it was. To a bear, it was a jackpot worth of food. The bear tore a hole in the roof. Not just a paw swipe, but a full frickin' hole. We're talking full structural destruction. An open wound in the ceiling, big enough for it to get through and crawl inside. It ripped through the insulation, and it ripped through all the roof layers like it was just peeling the top off a can of beans. And then it feasted. Tim's trailer became a bear buffet. By the time it was discovered, the trailer was a total loss. Roof ruined, interior shredded, food gone. That bear had helped itself to everything and left behind a mess from its claws, teeth, and basically an entire indifference to the rig. I'm sure it had a full belly at the end too. But that wasn't the end of it. Tim's neighbors, legends, they jumped into crisis mode. They secured his remaining valuables. They wrapped the entire trailer in an electric fence. And they set up a motion-triggered game camera to catch any other bears that might come in the area. And guess what? The bear came back. Exactly 1 hour after the co-workers left the scene, the bear returned to the very spot where it had feasted. It sniffed the air, pawed the ground. Clearly it remembered this location. Maybe it smelt the remnants. Either way, it wanted some more food. Now, we don't know exactly what happened next. The game cam was pointed at the front of the trailer. The bear, it seems, went for the back. And that's where the climb happened. That's where the food had been. And that's where the electric fence was also freshly installed. We like to think that the bear got zapped mid-ascent and reconsidered its dinner plans. But without a rear-facing camera, we'll never know for sure. Meanwhile, 300 miles north, Tim was doing his best to enjoy the music, but his mind was back in the redwoods. What would be left when he got home? Had the bear even returned again? Would there be anything to come home to? That unknown is kind of terrifying, and Tim ended up spending the whole weekend in that headspace wondering what happened. But here's where the story takes a turn. Not about darkness, but about resilience. Thanks to some good insurance, modest emergency fund, and a whole lot of help from friends, co-workers, and a great employer, Tim recovered. He replaced his lost trailer with a newer, much nicer one. He eventually retired. He moved not far from where the whole event happened. Still surrounded by nature, but maybe a little wiser about bear-proofing. Let this story be a reminder. Nature is beautiful, but it doesn't always knock. Sometimes it climbs, sometimes it claws, and sometimes it rips the whole frickin' roof clean off your trailer. So the next time you see that bear on the California flag, remember Tim's trailer, remember that roof, and remember, the wilderness doesn't ask permission to go inside your rig. It makes me wonder, should I invest in one of those camping electric fences that people do? I certainly camp in bear country a lot. What do you do to bear-proof your trailer and your camping experience? Comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe. I hope you liked this video. Click the like button, and I hope we earned your subscription today. Thanks a lot, Tim, for sending us this story.